All right, we'll call the regular town council meeting to order. If we can please call the roll.
Mayor Bright Cruz,
Here.
Vice Mayor Albritton,
Present.
Councilmember Hartman,
Here.
Councilmember Jablonski,
Here.
Councilmember Kaczynski.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mayor.
Great, thank you. All right, if you please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so we have four here. David, Councilmember Kaczynski is on the phone, has a family health emergency in North Florida, so he's not with us here. But David, we do appreciate you joining us by phone.
Thank you.
All right. Public comment. Do we have any public comment this evening? Do we have any public comment? Do you? If you can please fill out a card in the back and bring it up front.
Okay, no problem. Just fill it out. That's good enough. That's cool. Thank you. All right, Mayor, we have the first public speaker being John Garotti, followed by Mary Michelle.
Great. John, you want to go ahead and get us started?
It's public comment, like open public comment for anything, or?
For anything that's not on the agenda.
Sure, why not? Let's get it out of the way. This will always be interesting. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. John Garotti, 162nd Avenue. Since it's open comment and it's got nothing to do with what's on the agenda, this is my moment, and I'd rather get away with it now. I'm still dealing with nonsense regarding my case. And the only voice I have is to bring it in front of you guys. And I've tried to address everybody, including Andy, including Russell, and there's a process, and I understand that. But the other day, I'm at a code hearing, and the words from our town attorney were, "This is over. We aren't seeking anything further, so we want 32 grand." The magistrate said, "Hold on," decided to give me a reduction. Mr. Jablonski was there, and I believe Mr. James Albritton was there. So was Andy. So guess what? I kind of won. Hoo-hoo, I got an 8 grand reduction. Guess what I get 2 days later? I get an email that the town attorney would like to ask the magistrate for attorney's fees. So my question is, when does it end? So I go through the channels. I'm not huffing and puffing. I'm asking questions because it's my right as a resident. When do I get left alone? The response to me was, professionally, respectfully, we can't control the town attorney. We meaning the town administration, the town attorney. So I'm thinking, so who does? So he answers me. The town administration says to me, the council controls them. So either I live in a town where the town council picks and chooses who they go after, but my case is like the never-ending story. Steve, you're welcome to look at it. You can ask a question. I'm not making any of this up. You really can't. So when I think it's over, it's not over. What do? I don't understand. Look into it. Let me know if I'm totally incorrect. I did address it with the administration, but I'm perplexed. It just doesn't make sense. It's like when you think it's over, fine, 24,000. But it's not 24 grand because our town attorney would like to just ask for more. When he clearly said on an open microphone, we are done here. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. We have another,
Sorry, Mayor. Mary Michelle, followed by Jim Lasky, followed by Debbie Green, and final speaker will be Richard Ramcharchar.
Good evening. This is my first time public speaking, and it might take a little bit longer than 3 minutes, I'm not sure. But I will just go ahead and continue to read, and if you need to stop me anytime, I will do so. On September 21st, 2023, I participated in a Zoom meeting to define the organizational structure of the City of Southwest Ranches Task Force for the purpose of presenting the proposed organizational structure to the entire task force for approval. The task force members included in the Zoom meeting were Mrs. Debbie Green, Mr. Richard Ramcharchar, Mr. Michael Spitzer, and Mr. Bob Hartman. During the Zoom meeting, an environmental consultant who frequently assists Mr. Ram Charatar was added to the Zoom meeting. His name is Mike Ewall from Energy Justice. Although Mr. Ewall concurred with the basic organizational structure that we have been discussing, he strongly cautioned against the formation of a government/nonprofit hybrid such as the City of Southwest Ranches /Broward Clean Air Task Force venture. He strongly recommended against any governmental entity working in conjunction with a nonprofit organization for various and layered reasons. He further mentioned that the Miccosukee were concerned about this hybrid as well and were hesitant to participate. Mike Ewall suggested that the town council members could serve on the task force as individual citizens, but in no way be seen as representing the official interests of the City of Southwest Ranches. At this point in the meeting, it was decided that Mr. Bob Hartman would make the city aware of these concerns so that the city could make a decision as to how and whether to proceed with this joint venture. The next day, I received a text message from Mr. Ramcharatar stating that he found a form from another organization that we could use as a waiver of liability for participants in task force events. Ignoring and overriding the decision made the previous evening to have Mr. Bob Hartman discuss the legal liability for both the city and the task force members, this waiver was sent up the chain of command, which directly involved the City of Southwest Ranches. This action was taken willfully in spite of the warnings and cautions against doing so. At that time, I offered my and my daughter's withdrawal from serving in an administrative capacity on the task force to Mrs. Debbie Green. When my daughter and I initially joined the task force, we were told that Broward Clean Air was a nonprofit organization and could fully function as such. I was later told that Broward Clean Air is not a nonprofit, but receives fiscal sponsorship from a 501c nonprofit organization called Together We Can. If this is the case, it would put the fiscal sponsor in control of all of the finances of the sponsored organization, which I have been told is Broward Clean Air, and would negate or seriously impact the responsibilities and oversight of the Finance Committee that we had incorporated into the discussed organizational structure. Whether the city is able to structure such an alliance is a matter which, I believe, needs to be carefully reviewed before continuing such alliance. However, I would like to ask whether due diligence has been done by the city on either of these organizations, and whether the contract establishing the fiscal responsibility of said fiscal recipient has been reviewed and approved. In addition, Broward Clean Air is not registered as a corporation with Sunbiz. The catchphrase I have been hearing more frequently to address Broward Clean Air is a grassroots organization. However, it has not, as far as I have been able to find, been legally recognized by the state of Florida as an organizational entity. I understand that the city has already issued a check to this fiscal sponsor. Was the check specifically designated to Broward Clean Air? Without a specific designation of where the received funds are to be allocated, the fiscal sponsor can allocate the funds however they choose. This is more of a concern for future donations than the $150, which was given to the city, the $150 which was given, I understand, it was issued by the city to provide snacks at the task force meeting on September 13th, 2023. Furthermore, I have heard it mentioned several times that Broward Clean Air has applied for a $75,000 grant. It has also been mentioned that at least in part of this grant would be earmarked to reimburse or recompensate Mr. Ram Charatar for the time he has spent working on behalf of Broward Clean Air. If this be the case, there are very specific standards and requirements that must be met to allow the payment to members of a nonprofit organization. In short, have these concerns been addressed and resolved? Have these contractual agreements been reviewed and accepted? And have structural oversights been put in place to protect all of the members and volunteers of the task force and the city representatives? It is not my intent to embarrass and negate the good work that Mr. Ram Charatar has been doing to fight against the installation of the incinerators and the establishment of a zero-waste program. I believe that we all share these common goals, and I believe with proper structure, we can make a change to stop these incinerators from being built. However, I also believe that we need to proceed in a strategic and systematic manner that would not only achieve our goals, but legally protect all of those who wish to participate.
Great, thank you.
Ma'am, could you state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Mary Michelle, and my address is 15011 North Saxon Circle, Southwest Ranches, Florida, 33331.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who's next?
The next speaker, Mayor, is Jim Lasky, followed by Debbie Green.
Jim Lasky, 5780 Southwest 188th Avenue. Initially, I informed everybody that I was going to attack this incineration idea from just a financial point of view. The financial point of view gave me all the information I needed to know to be able to address any subject in waste that you want to discuss. Today I learned that Exxon Oil Company, a $495 billion company, just developed a technique for taking single-use plastic and crunching it up, I guess, into very small pieces and repurposing the plastic back into single-use plastic again. What's wrong with that? Just about every single thing that I think any of you could come up with wouldn't be significant enough to change the already idea I have in my mind that this is nothing more than an artificial impediment that's contrived by either Viola or Win, the Wheelabrator company is called Win something or other now, to control the garbage market. You know, we got too many important things coming up in this world to spend money on besides blowing it on this incineration project. There's no reason for it. We got it handled. I mean, if you all pick a subject, we can handle it. The technology's there. And when you think about it, the amount of jobs it's going to create for the people that we got in this community, both communities, all communities, all right? They're unskilled to the point where you got to have them running some of these machines if they could be trained well enough to do it. So you got the labor force and you got the need to feed these people because they're all over the place. They're walking around our town, up and down the streets. I see them down in Doral. They're starting to panhandle, all these kinds of things. We need to put them to work somehow. But anyway, we really can beat this thing if we put our minds to it. And you, Mr. Brightcrus, a master's degree in finance, you ought to be able to crunch the numbers. Andy's got some new computer program where we could separate them, but we don't even know how they're counting the numbers now to come up with the assumptions that they're giving you the need for an incineration project. You know, why should they get credit for scrap metal? We got all kinds of scrap metal people that are saying there's scrap metal's in short supply. It's the cheapest way to make steel. Iron ore, you have to do a lot of digging, waste a lot of fuel. It's work. If it's already made and all you do is repurpose it, it makes them a ton of money. And another thing I wanted to bring up, several months ago, I mentioned to Mr. Burns that I had a guy that might possibly be interested in a recycling operation in property you own. And he was told he told me that if the deal went through, he'd let me know. You know, they're a huge vertically integrated steel company, and scrap metal's what they're into. I don't know if that would be an acceptable use out west, but think about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Next. Debbie Green.
Next speaker.
Debbie Green, 5201 Southwest 199th. I just wanted to give major kudos to December and to the entire council, staff, and everyone involved in the shade up at Country Estates Park. It's amazing. I think now all the residents can really enjoy it with their kids, grandkids, great-grandkids, and be able to use the slide. And then I also see 2 big mounds of really nice mulch that I'm sure will be spread out there very shortly. So thank you so much. I'm going to save most of my comments in regards to the Zero Waste Task Force for board reports.
Okay.
But I just wanted to briefly say, we had a meeting. The purpose of that meeting was to more define some of our committees so we had people that signed up for committees, and we wanted just to be able to kind of start moving forward and have more of an outline of each of those committees. Then we did have some discussion with Mike Ewald from the Energy Justice, and he was, just giving us why reinvent the wheel if he's already done this with several other cities? And it came up that there could be potential risk for the town to be as closely involved as it was, even though everybody's on board, with the purpose, and we want to move towards zero waste and no incinerators. But there could be that, and so maybe we shouldn't have that partnership. We should just be as a grassroots effort that is just working more like an HOA, like one of our Sunshine Ranches, Country Estates, but that kind of group, but not just within the town, because that's what we're trying to reach out to everyone more regionally of South Florida, whether it be Miami, Palm Beach, and just all regionally. So I will address the rest. As far as some of the other, all of those concerns were heard, and I believe that Bob is going to address them later today. Some of the other things, I'm really just not sure where those came from. But again, I will address more just in regards to the task force and different committees and all of that, and upcoming events during board reports.
Great. Thank you, Debbie.
Good evening. My name is Richard Ramcharitar, Southwest 166th Avenue. I am pretty shocked to hear what Miss Mary Michelle came up here to tell this council and the public tonight concerning our work that we're doing and our organizing, as well as financial fiscal sponsorship that we have been working on obtaining, so that this way we can fundraise and raise money to continue the work that we're doing, because it takes money to do a lot of the stuff that we're doing. With regard to the $75,000 private foundation grant, that grant was, we were guided by Mike Ewald, who is our research policy and strategic advisor. Mike Ewald has been guiding Broward Clean Air. We are not a registered corporation or anything like that. We don't have to have that structure if we have a fiscal sponsor. So where she gets her information from, I don't know, but it's really, I think it's out of left field, and I think it's inappropriate to bring that up here in this meeting tonight. She should have contacted me if she had any concerns whatsoever, and this caught me off guard completely, and I'm appalled by it. We are trying to do, Marianne, when this whole thing started out with the interlocal agreement, and we found out that waste to energy was part of the considerations going forward, Marianne and I dug in real deep, and we started doing a lot of work on our own to try and help our town and help our community avoid incineration at all costs. I have invested personal time, I've spent personal money, and I have taken a lot of time away from our own work, sacrificing our own clients' work, and losing money in the process with this process that we're doing right now. And for anybody to come up here and speak in the manner that she did, she owes us an apology, because we're working very hard to save this community and all of the other communities around from incineration, because I live next to an incinerator, and I know what the ill effects are for people living next to incinerators. So this is why I'm so passionately involved in this process. So with regard to the money that December, this came from the Astor Knight Foundation, which we are grateful for, that it was offered to us to provide snacks and refreshments for the last meeting that we had.
New mic.
Yes, I'm sorry. So this money that she's referring to, $150, which was mostly used for buying pizzas and refreshments and drinks, I went out personally and picked up all of these things myself. So I'm spending my own time and money to do all of these things for this town and for the task force that we're trying to pull together. This is all new to us, all right? It's all new to you. So we're trying our best to get ourselves organized. We're trying to do everything legally so that we don't run into any sort of issues with the IRS. And so Mikey Wall guided me and got us a fiscal sponsor so that we can have an administrative arm overseeing our finances, fundraising, et cetera. And if we have expenses to make, we have to go through the fiscal sponsor. I would be more than happy to sit with you and discuss and show you the agreement that I had to sign. It's quite extensive. There's fees that come out off the top of fundraising, 6%, if everybody wants to know. And so I spoke about this to December, and I told her, I said, this is a complicated process with having a fiscal sponsor. The money has to go through them, and then it comes to us. And this was a meeting that we were pulling together in 1 week. So December did not issue a check to Broward Clean Air or to Together We Can. It was issued so that we can purchase the snacks and refreshments as a donation gift from the foundation. I don't see anything wrong with that, but it seems as though Ms. Michelle has a problem with everything that I have been trying to do. And I just want to say, I'm transparent, and if you have any questions to me, come and ask me, because I'm not going to hide anything from you.
Any further public comment? Public comment. Okay. Just a quick note before we go on. We're a community here, okay? And we're trying to do something very difficult as a community. And everybody is weighing in. Everybody is putting in extra time. We've just had speaker after speaker after speaker that has put in a tremendous amount of their own personal time. This is a time to give folks benefit of the doubt, as we're all working very hard to do the right thing here. And regardless of how it is, if you've got an issue with one person or another, talk to that person. Throwing it out here in a public meeting, I don't think serves anybody any positive way. And if there's an issue, we don't want to sweep it under the rug. We want to know about it. And we want to make sure we do things right. Everybody here wants to make sure we do things right. But there's a better way to do it. And I would just encourage us to communicate a little bit better up front before we get in front of a microphone. Maybe put away the personal stuff, and let's just work together to do something positive and right for this town. We're up against a big challenge, and it's tough enough to do this challenge without any other distractions. But when we're have exchanges like we've had this evening, or have exchanges as we've had in other meetings about joining the ILA or not joining the ILA, that to me is a total distraction from the most difficult work that we have to do. So I would just encourage us, let's get away from the distractions. Let's be thankful for everybody who is working together to do this, putting in time, effort, funds of their own to try and get something really important done for our community. Let's work together. Let's pull together. Let's do the right thing and see if we can get this done. So, thanks. All right, board reports.
Alrighty. So on behalf of the Zero Waste Broward and our Broward Clean Air, I also just want to share in our Zoom call with Mikey Wall, he specifically said that typically, in most cases, the grassroots efforts are not incorporated or legal entities, and that's what makes them grassroots efforts, and that's what gives them the ability to really form the really strong, when you see the fight that comes from the grassroots effort. So at that meeting, so when we were trying to more redefine some of our committees, so I just want to put, if anyone is interested in this fight, keeping incinerators and working towards zero waste in South Florida, the region, that's just the goal where we want to move to. There's several committees, and my phone just went out. So the email, if you're interested, or everybody excels in different areas. So if you excel in one of these areas and you want to participate in this and help get the word out and everyone in their own way, to please send an email to zerowastbrowardtf@gmail.com. And then some of the committees we have is zero waste education committees. We have marketing and social media committees, which would be more like flyers, posters, signs, people who are have those expertise, people who are good with social media, like Facebook, Instagram, so on, website designs, T-shirts. We have a communication and canvassing committee, which would be more people that are, like maybe door-to-door petitions, education, surveys. We have outreach committees, which are more reaching out to local municipalities. Like in one of that, maybe we attending several of the council meetings so we can speak at public comment, and doing that at our local, the Broward County governmental entities, the Solid Waste Authority, county government, state government, the tribunal governments, environmental groups, and that goes on. And then we have like student-led organizations. For any students that are out there that are interested in maybe that starting a club, or through some of environmental clubs at the school, getting out some zero waste training. And within the student clubs, maybe they, some actions or demonstrations. So I'm going to stop there. I'm guessing, like any PTSAs, but I'll stop there. But one of the other things that I really want to make sure that everyone's aware of, the very first Solid Waste Disposal and Recycling Materials Processing Authority meeting, it's a mouthful. That meeting is going to be on October 11th at 9:30 a.m. It's at Flamingo Park Meeting Hall in Sunrise. The address is 12855 Northwest 8th Street in Sunrise. There is going to be public comment. On the agenda, they're also going to be appointing the executive committee. So I think it's important that as many of us can show up for public comment. And then also, as far as the executive committee, it shows they're appointing 5 members from large cities, 3 members from medium cities, and 2 members from small cities, and 1 member from the county. So I think it's just extremely important we have as many people that can be there, and we can impress upon everyone to be sure that we are one of those cities on that executive committee. Alrighty, and I'm going to pass it along to Richard. Thank you.
And I would like to add that Debbie and I got together on the Saturday and worked on that together, the 2 of us, no one else. What I'd like to discuss is that I went down to Miami on September 18th, and I had a meeting with the mayor's resiliency officer for solid waste, and we had Mikey Wall and Ruth Abbey from Zero Waste USA. On that call, I tried to assemble experts in zero waste to speak to the Miami-Dade group that's in charge of zero waste and solid waste programs, and convince them that Miami-Dade should be heading in the direction of zero waste as opposed to trying to build an incinerator. We are going to provide them with a sample RFP, request for proposal, which would outline the need for a zero waste consultant to be a part of this process before they decide to build an incinerator. Last week, I went to a Road to Zero Waste training class that was put on by Florida Rising. This is the group that's involved with the Doral incinerator fire, and Earth Justice, the law firm that represents them. So during that meeting, I met a gentleman, a founder and CEO of a company called Compost for Life. And this gentleman, he started a small business, and it has grown to a good size. And He is covering all of Miami as well as parts of Broward County here in Weston where they pick up scraps from households, and then they take that and they convert it into compost. And right now, they're producing about 50,000 pounds of compost. I spoke to him about possibly doing something like this, like a pilot program here in Southwest Ranches, and I'd like to follow up with the administration and Steve. He did tell me that there are grants, federal grants out there where you can enter into a public-private venture where the government would fund infrastructure to do such programs. So I just wanted to give you an update with that, and I'll bring more information to you in the week coming.
Great. Thank you, Richard. Thanks for all you're doing. Any other board reports? Seeing none. Council member comments?
I'll go.
Okay.
Ta-da. I'll be brief. Welcome, everybody. How many people do we have in YouTube land? 5. Outstanding. Welcome also. Welcome also. Just a few things to go over. Some reminders and then some a little bit of commentary. One is that we have the holiday lights contest. The participants, this is for home decorating for the holidays, Christmas time. The form must be in by no later than Friday, December 1st, and the first 3 homes, most festive, will be decorated in Southwest Ranches, will be the winners, and Santa and Mrs. Claus and the entire volunteer fire department will be out there to give you the award. The judging will start on December 5th, and the awards will be presented on December 7th. So I just wanted to make mention of that. And you can get the forms to sign up, I believe, on the website. So that one's down. We now have a new newsletter, full color, should be in everybody's mailbox as of, I got mine today in the mailbox. And it looks really, really good. So hats off to Susan and company and whoever, and the rest of the people that have put it all together. It should be, hopefully it'll increase the readership, because we do put out a lot of important stuff in this newsletter. And so hopefully it won't end up in the trash can. Everybody will keep it around for a little while. Also, Broward County property appraiser is going to be here on the 3rd of October, which I believe is Tuesday, from 10 to 12. If you have any issues or things that you need done with the Broward County property appraiser. We have our council meetings in October on the 12th and the 26th, excuse me. And the DMV Flowmobile will be back here. It was canceled this month, but it'll be back here on the 25th of October from 10 to 2. It's by appointment only. Contact Deborah at the clerk's office to set that up. And then we got the big thing for October. It's the Rolling Oaks Halloween for all the kids. Starts at 6 o'clock. We usually have 200 to 400 children there. We have a lot of fun. We have a haunted house. This is where everybody sets up initially around the semicircle at the barn. And we pass out candy. And then the kids go up into the barn area, which is set up as a haunted house, and have a lot of fun with it. And that's going to go from 6 to 9. And we're going to, this year, I heard the committee mention that they're going to really cut it off at 9 o'clock. And I'm thinking, like, really good luck on that one.
Yeah.
Because the line was like 200 people deep at one point, trying to get into it. So it's very successful, and it's a lot of fun for our area. So just want to mention, David, I know you're listening in. We're thinking about you, and our thoughts and prayers are with you. So I know you're going through a tough time. So, you're not alone. I just want you to know that.
Appreciate that.
One thing I want to mention, and this deals with all the waste to energy and the recycling and all this, and I just recently found this out. The new facility that's being built by Waste Management over by on Pembroke Pines on Pembroke Road is being set up for single stream recycling apparently they've figured out a way to make it work more efficiently. So the original concept is we were going to have we were going to investigate multiple bins for, paper, plastic, glass, et cetera. They're saying, no, don't. We've got this figured out. So we're going to stay with the single stream, recycling. And they said they can make it work better, more efficiently on their end.
Waste management. Okay.
Waste management is on that. So I'm not pursuing that anymore, is what I'm driving at.
Right.
So just wanted to mention that. So, and I've also asked Andy for a list of, hopefully I can get it, Andy can get it soon. It's going to take some research. I'd like to know all the cities in Broward County that are recycling. And I think the number will be kind of shocking once we get it all, So I'd like to see that. And I think that would be good information to have for the ILA,
Right.
something like that.
Right.
And I'll close with that, Mayor.
Great. Thank you, Gary.
Good. I'll go next.
Okay.
All righty. So I spent a lot of time writing a speech that I'm probably not going to give because most of the information has actually gone out. But there are some things that I did want to talk about. Over the past few weeks, I've been talking to Debbie and I've been talking to Russell predominantly about how we can kind of better organize. Because the concern is we've had several meetings and we're not doing yet. Those meetings, now they evolve, of course, because the first meeting was all about what's going on and what is zero waste, and we still continue to spend a lot of time talking about that, which is part of the educational process. But we have a lot of people signing up to help out, and if we wait much longer, we'll lose their interest. These are the things you got to keep moving forward. So Debbie took the initiative to set up a meeting last Thursday night to talk about it, to talk about the good ideas, but mostly to try to get better organized and talk about the committees and try to come up with what the missions of the committees were, et cetera. So to that end, we got together, each came with ideas. After about an hour and a half of discussion, we hadn't made a lot of headway. And Richard suggested that we get in touch with Mike Ewell and see if he can join us on the phone. And he did, which was really eye-opening because let me tell you a little bit about Mike Ewell. He's an environmental attorney, and he's the founder of Earth Justice Network. And he's played a significant role in grassroots victories against proposed polluting facilities. He's often led community opposition groups and supported efforts in various ways. He's helped basically put a tremendous amount of these facilities, not out of business, but he's blocking them basically since 1993, including incinerators, nuclear waste dumps. I never heard of a waste coal power plant. That's a power plant that uses the coal that they can't sell. They now have a market for selling the stuff that they consider garbage at the coal mines through these types of incinerators. If nothing else works, burn it up, I guess. That's probably the answer. But he's helped block these all over the country. He's played a significant role. And when you start looking at what he's been able to stop, it's very impressive. And it's not just trash incinerators. They call them, would you believe the preferred choice for disposing of tires is incineration? Yeah, they're called tire pyrolysis or tire gasification. I mean, it's crazy all the terms they come up with to burn things. But the bottom line is he's been very successful at blocking these efforts around the country. He's blocked 19 in Pennsylvania alone, and he's even blocked a chicken waste incinerator in 3 different states. Chicken waste, they burn chicken poop. Amazing. I mean, you think they'd convert that to fertilizer, but it became pretty apparent that we need his guidance on some of these things because I've never started a volunteer organization like this before. We formed the town 20 years ago. This isn't the same thing. This is getting volunteers from everywhere we can think of and reaching out. So we walked him through our committees, and it seems like we had a lot of good ideas, but we had a lot of other things based on his recommendations to do. Richard had mentioned, applying for grants. there's numerous types of or forms of support that we can gain through different groups. This gentleman has experience in those things. He is an excellent resource for us to talk of successful methods and approaches that he's seen and used with other groups. He's developed a toolkit of strategies and practices to stop incinerator development, and he's willing to share it with us. So right off the bat, that's great. When we discuss the town's direct involvement, in other words, the workshop type or style meetings that we were recommended to have, he got very concerned about it because, again, I've never done this before. The challenge is that the grassroots groups lots of times will go ahead and sue the authorities that are trying to build these things. So if Clean Air Broward decides to, as part of the larger group, sue the Solid Waste Authority, not a problem, okay? But if Zero Waste Broward, under the auspices of Southwest Ranches, our little group, someday big group, we were hoping, decided to sue the Solid Waste Authority, that incorporates the town into those lawsuits. And I haven't discussed this with Keith, but that's probably not a good idea for the town to be directly associated and create legal risk for the town. On top of that, Richard had mentioned, or it may have been Debbie, had mentioned that some of the environmental organizations and other interested parties, such as the Indian groups, they're not interested in getting involved with government. They have a long history of being involved with government. I spoke to a friend's husband who is part of the Seminole tribe, and he told me the Seminoles are concerned about the Seminoles. They don't get involved to fight government unless it's in their interests. They don't support it. Now, if they find out an incinerator is going on and it gets back to their tribal council, they may decide differently because it's in their interests. But with Zero Waste Broward being involved as part of the town, kind of, as another advisory group to a certain extent for the town, that could create problems for Zero Waste Broward. If we can't get the support from environmental groups, if we can't get support from extremely successful and wealthy Indian tribes right in our midst, then we will not be successful overall. He also talked about fundraising. You know, if Zero Waste Broward is part of the town, how do we do fundraising? How do we write grants? How do we do all these things being part of the town? And a lot of it just won't happen because we're part of the town. So he was saying, his suggestion was that we essentially, instead of Zero Waste Broward being kind of a little group within the town or under the town or affiliated with the town, that we roll it into Broward Clean Air. Broward Clean Air would be the organization. Zero Waste Broward would be part of it as the group that's maybe fighting just for zero waste programs. But it would be a program within Clean Air Broward. Now, he gave us several more reasons why. These are the ones that to me are the most obvious. But there's some other things that we probably couldn't do as well either. He had shown us copies of a zero waste plan and strategy that's being developed in Montgomery County, Alabama, that he's working on. And again, the purpose behind this study is to confront the Solid Waste Authority's numbers. You know, it's an independent study and report on a zero waste approach that basically looks on paper a heck of a lot better than an incinerator solution. Now, that's done by scientists. And these scientists don't work for, who's the company that is engaged right now? Arcadis. They don't do work like Arcadis. Arcadis is a consulting company that does these kinds of things all the time. They bid on them. We have to put things like this out for bid. If we wanted to spend $30,000-$40,000 on an environmental study and a waste stream study, we would only get the usual suspects like Arcadis and Post Buckley and the companies that do this for a living. They're not going to be on the zero waste side because their business is to design and build incinerators. So again, having zero waste Broward as part of the town, it's just another reason that it's not a good idea. So what I'm recommending to the council and to the community is that we put some space between. Now, the important thing is we as residents of the town of Southwest Ranches can participate on any of the committees. He recommended, two of us aren't on the same committee because these things may come before us for all the usual reasons, but he recommended, if we want, be on them, but just don't be in leadership roles because, again, we'd be up reporting before the group. The last and one of the more important reasons from his perspective for not having this as a government affiliated is particularly here in Florida, again, due to the sunshine laws. Anybody can come to our meetings. We might not want the lawyers from the other side hearing the strategy that the group has come up with on how they're going to raise funds, how they're going to fight the incinerator, all these types of things. So again, he had a whole suite of reasons why it's a bad idea. So my recommendation is, and we're all community activists, that's why we're up here. Every one of us was involved in our communities before we ever ran for council, and in a lot of our cases before there was even a town. So we're wired automatically to get involved. We can still stay involved, but I think our major contribution to this effort, other than our individual, but as a town, is through the Solid Waste Authority, by fighting against incinerators, by educating the other cities as elected leaders, showing up like they're saying at their council meetings and educating 2 minutes on, 3 minutes on why we've chosen this and why we recommend it to them. That's where I think we can be more beneficial than trying to lead an organization that really should be a grassroots resident volunteer organization that's more generic, and I don't mean generic, but more grassroots than something that would be sponsored by the town. So, Mr. Mayor, if you want to open that up for conversation, that would be my recommendation.
Okay.
I do have another comment to make. So, you know, one of the things we talk about here is leading by example. And, you know, we like to lead by example in terms of zero waste. Well, everything I'm reading in how some of the various cities, not only here, but it's huge in Europe, I'm learning. But zero waste is steps. You don't do this giant program, flip a switch, and all of a sudden it's zero waste. There's a lot of education. There's a lot of things that have to be done. I've been talking with Russell to Barbara Herrera, our account executive from Waste Management. I mean, I was thinking to myself a couple months ago maybe, oh, it's all blending together at this point. Waste Management is the largest waste company in North America. They're constantly talking about recycling. They have to have best practices around the country. They've deployed these programs in a lot of places, and they have some achievement rates higher than 75%. Let's rely on them. And they've agreed to help us develop a program, help us start with communications to go out. Russell's already receiving some and sending them out via the various social media and communications methods. But as this develops, I think we want to set some goals for ourselves. Now, to say by next year we'll be at 75% would be unrealistic. I've asked Barbara, since we're coming up on our year contract anniversary, they've now got the statistics on a year's worth of solid waste flow. Let's get those numbers. Let's see if we can't set a goal for next year. I don't know what we are at. Let's just say we're at 15%. I'm sure we're higher than that. Maybe by next year we want to be at 30%, 20%, whatever we think is reasonable. And maybe within 5 years, we want to try to be at 75%. And they help us build the program to incrementally get there so that it isn't, you know, people are upset because all of a sudden they have to recycle everything and they don't even know what recycling is. You know, we build this up gradually and we feed on the successes of it and learn what works for us. So I'll be bringing that back. Barbara has promised. We've actually also met with one of the regional executives who's responsible for recycling, I believe, for Florida. And then the other person we met was more of the national and communications outreach, that sort of thing. So they have all of the tools for us to get this done. It's kind of funny because they're still in the landfill business. So, some of these things are expensive. Well, let's work through that. Maybe there's opportunities to cut some of those costs. I'm not worried about costs right now. I just want to understand it. So when they come back, I've already asked Barbara to put a presentation together on where we are once they have the numbers. I'm not sure when. I think she said within the month or so, if I recall. Yeah. So, we'll keep pushing forward on that, and we'll try to lead by example. I mean, wouldn't it be amazing if we got to 75% without all these other really hardcore things that we need to do?
Right.
So, good. Thank you.
All right, great. Great work, Bob. Thank you. All right.
Mayor?
Yeah, go for it.
Thank you. I sit on the Directors Board for the Broward League of Cities, and the Broward League of Cities 2 days ago had the election for second vice president, and I am happy to say that Miss Denise Harlan from Plantation was elected as second vice president. She is a very qualified person, very active in the community, and going forward 2 years, 2.5 years, I think 3 years from now, she will be the new president of Broward League of Cities. So it was really great to see her get elected. And for the town of Southwest Ranches, I have a public notice here that's being sent out to the residents of the new drainage project for Green Meadows. There'll be a town hall meeting here on October the 17th at 7 p.m. This is going to all the residents on 54th Street, I believe it is. Am I right? 54th Street? Yeah. And it's a very short street. It's not very long. It goes from Dykes probably a quarter of a mile. I think there's 11 or 12 homes there. But they will be greatly affected because the street will be torn up. And it's a very narrow street to start with. I knocked on the doors here a few months back and informed them that this was coming. And now that it's here, I'm glad to see that the town notifies them that it's here. So that'll be a great thing for them to show up and participate. I want to reiterate a little bit about what Gary said. For the barn, there's a lot of work that goes into that. If anybody's interested in helping to set up, I'm sure that would be greatly appreciated. Takes about 3, maybe 4 days to get all that set up. A lot of work goes in. If you're interested in giving out candy, there's a horseshoe street right in front of the barn. You pull your car in, you put your tailgate to the street, you get your candy out, put a table out, and like Gary said, 300 to 400 kids come by all night long. It is probably the safest place in Broward County that you could have your kids trick-or-treat. It is. There is absolutely no way that any car is going to run over them. There's nobody going to bother them, and they can run around until they drop and collect candy. I know that my wife and I buy about 8 or 10 bags from Costco every year, and every year we go home and I get a candy bar out of it, and that's all I get. So it is a great thing.
Vice
And-
Mayor, the Horseshoe Street is going to be closed off at 6 p.m. They don't want any cars coming through after that.
Right, so get there early. If you're going to set up your table and stuff, get there early. Or if you want to carry a table in, if you get there late, carry your table in and set it up, that's all. We usually have 8 or 9 tables in a row, and they come through. Sometimes there's a scarecrow sitting there next to the table that they come up and they push and they punch, thinking he's not real, and all of a sudden he'll reach up and grab them. So just be looking for the scarecrow. Also, last year, Councilman Kaczynski introduced a hay bale contest, which was very successful. It's back again this year. First, second, third place will get some kind of a prize, little ribbon or prize or so. So if you're interested, get in touch. The flyer that's here has the wrong date on it, I hate to tell you. This was published by the association themselves. It says October the 29th, which is a Sunday, and it's October the 28th, which is a Saturday. So, but October the 28th, come on out. A lot of fun, great time for everyone. If you have a chance to go by Founders Park, Miss Laura Warren has done a terrific job on emphasizing what Southwest Ranches is. If you look at those murals, everything up there represents Southwest Ranches. And it's a beautiful painting. It's great. If you walk out front and look at our town hall sign, she refurbished it. It looks almost brand new, so we give her a great thank you for that. The Rural Arts Board, if you look over here on the board, there were 52 pictures there. The Rural Arts Board came in, took them an hour and a half or so. They picked out the 13 best pictures, and those pictures will go on next year's calendar that you can buy here at Town Hall, $5. So look and see if you submitted a picture. That picture may show up on the calendar next year. If it doesn't make the calendar, well, it will make the calendar on the back page, but if it doesn't make the calendar on one of the months, look for it in the future. Miss Susan takes those pictures, archives them, and if she needs a picture for the town newspaper, which is now in color, and in the paper inside, it's black and white, so you can read it. Pictures inside are color. You may see one of your pictures on the front cover of that. So that's a great thing to
Jim,
do.
can I just interrupt you
Yeah.
for a second? Example of that,
Yes,
this month's cover photo,
there you go.
Joanne Hollingsworth took it in one of the very early photo contests. She didn't win, that's fine, but here it is. It's still a winner. It's on the cover of the town newsletter. So we try to reuse, and I know they're also used in other documents as well, so the photos never go to waste.
Yeah, Miss Susan archives everything. She's, I guess, a hoarder. She has pictures from 2000 when the town was formed, I think, so that's it. Real quick, the speeding signs, if you want one of the flashing speeding signs, give a holler to Tom here at Town Hall, or email me or call me, and we'll move one of those to you. And then I'd just like to touch bases real quick, and I'll be brief, Mayor. I read an article here the other day, and then I heard on the news yesterday an incident that's taken place. Do not know if it's the same person, but the motive was the same. Mother took her children to the park over here at the hill and put them on the swing. And a gentleman walked up and sat down close to them on the swing with a pacifier in his mouth and was staring at them constantly. She got very nervous, took her kids and went to the car. He followed her there. She closed the door, started the car, backed out. He threw a pacifier that he had in his mouth while he was sitting on the swing at her. This past week in South Miami, a lady took her kid to the park, sat on the swings. A gentleman come and sat down on the swing next to him. This happened just a couple of days ago. Stared at the kid. She got nervous. Got up, started towards the car. This time, the gentleman grabbed the kid. She fought him off, beat on him real bad, and he took off running. They've got some kind of a description of him. But these are the incidents that take place when you least expect it. So if you're out there with your children, or if you're out there by yourself, or if you're out walking around, just keep your head on a swivel and see what's going on. Mayor, that's all I got. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. David, do you have any comments? Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, great. Yeah, I got a couple of things. First of all, there have been a couple of residents that have called me and asked for both police enforcement for speeding in front of their homes. That is being handled. The speed limit sign also, the mobile trailer, they've asked for that, and I have put those people on the rotating list. So next Saturday in Sunshine Ranches, early in the morning, several roads are going to be blocked off. And generally, the roads that will be blocked off will be from Appaloosa. I'm going from previous experience. From Appaloosa to up Luray, West Luray, all the way to Hancock. Hancock going south to Mustang going back west to Appaloosa, and then Appaloosa all the way back to the Luray area for the Shot Center 5K run. That's going to be real early in the morning, and the police will be out, Navy police will be out to enforce the closed roads. So get your stuff done early, or well, real early. I think they start at about 7 in the morning. So just be patient with the runners. It goes to a great cause over there. And I'm going to wrap up with some issues that are a big concern of mine, and that deals with some of the bad folks that come into our town, driving around on the weekends predominantly, and they come across a landscaping truck or somebody doing services on one of the properties for our residents, and somebody drives up and opens the truck and takes wallets out. We had that not too long ago on the property next door to me. They actually stole somebody's passport, which is going to be a big problem. I had one of my friends, Tomas's son, was starting up his landscaping business, and he left the back of his trailer open. Somebody drove up and stole $2,000 of landscaping equipment from the back of the trailer. This affects all of us, and it really angers me that they come to our town and do this and take advantage of us. It's something that just speak to your landscaping folks and ask them to lock up their trucks, lock up their trailers. It's the best deterrent. And that goes the same thing with the key fobs. Don't keep the key fob in the car. Don't keep guns in the car overnight. Get it all wrapped up, 9 o'clock. Get your mail. I think there was some mail theft that I heard about as well. So it's diminished. It's not as rampant as it was. But these folks that are driving around our neighborhoods, stealing things from our landscaping companies and stuff like that, it really is not what Southwest Ranches is about. So just ask the folks to keep that locked up. That'll do it for me, and I thank everybody that have reached out to me about the concerns with my mother. It's a difficult time, and I really thank the heartfelt reaching out by everybody. Thank you.
Great, thank you, David. Yeah, and we, thoughts and prayers are with you and your family, your mom, and certainly wish the very best there. All right, just a couple of things. I think most everything was covered, but I did want to follow up on the, as far as our efforts for the incinerator and being a separate organization. I really felt like that was our intent from the very beginning. So I'm a little confused if I missed something along the way, because I really feel like we need to be a separate organization. That was the intent. We didn't want it affiliated with the town, with the sunshine rules and the laws and all that. So just like a separate, like an HOA, just a separate group to do that. That was my thought and expectations. I don't know if there's anything else going on.
address it?
Yeah, sure.
Well, when I discussed this with Keith early on, we're all aware of Sunshine.
Sure.
So his recommendation was to run these meetings so we can talk amongst each other at those meetings as a workshop. So now that it's a workshop, it's technically supported and sponsored by the town of Southwest Ranches, regardless of what we're calling it. These are publicly noticed meetings. We're taking minutes, doing all the same things as government does. So we can still meet here because HOAs meet here all the time, but we won't have the formalities, and you and I won't be discussing things in front of the group there. You could get up and give your usual,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I don't know if you should give a briefing
Right,
anymore.
right.
Somebody should. But it's fraught.
Yeah, it sounds like we need to do our jobs up here
Right.
and we can be present,
Right.
but we need to leave the commentary alone.
Group.
Like the HOA meetings we attend.
And we can get up and talk about it up here, I'm sure.
Yeah.
During
Sure,
our
this is a
council
notice
member
meeting.
comments, what we think or what we don't think, what have you. But at those meetings, I think, even going so far as not wearing our shirts,
Yeah.
to try to stay as a resident,
Right.
These are kind of like the Toll Brothers meetings that were going on. I mean, we did not check in on that because that stuff may or may not have come in front of us.
Yeah,
We sat and listened.
yeah. So I think we need to be spectators
Okay.
Yeah.
as opposed to,
But we can, he suggested we can still participate, but Bob Hartman, resident of 198th Terrace, not council member Bob Hartman.
yeah, I know,
Yeah,
but there's
that's a tough line.
Well-
that's a hard one to
Yeah,
distinguish.
I don't,
Yeah. I like the silent treatment better.
No, I don't mean we'd be talking in the meetings. Let's just say there's a communications committee, right? And that's something Steve is attracted to. the rest of us wouldn't be on that committee because they'd be talking about business that may come in front of us if they ask for money or something. So we can participate as committee members, but not as leaders, because leaders will be discussing. So it's up to you guys if you want to participate. That's your
Okay,
call, obviously.
yeah, thanks. No, but I appreciate you highlighting it and bringing it to the group. It's something we don't want to be aware of. I do think that, waste management is our partner in this, and I thought that's a great suggestion, and it was kind of where my thoughts were headed. So I appreciate you bringing that up. They have tremendous resources, They have done this over and over again, and I think that, honestly, I think that there is a little bit of a power thing going on there between Broward County and Waste Management. And I'm sorry to hear that, because I'm not sure that's going to lead us to the best solution.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think our partner is Waste Management. They have shown themselves to be an excellent partner. And I think we should tap that resource and leverage that resource as much as possible. And I think they can help us get where we need to go. So great suggestion behind it, 100%. All right, and I think that is my list. So legal comments.
None.
All right. Andy, administrative comments.
Sure, I got three things for you.
I thought you were going to try and beat Keith. You're disappointing.
Not
More
this
fun
time.
to
Not
Russell.
this time. The first thing I want to let you all know that our experimental summer hours, we extended the hours Monday through Thursday and went a little bit shorter on Friday, has been a success, and we're going to continue that through the end of the year.
Good.
Residents are able to come in half an hour early or half an hour later, and I think that's worked out really well from that standpoint. Also want to let you know that the town submitted a grant application under the fiscal year 2023-2024 Florida Firefighter Assistance Grant Program, and we were approved. So that project will allow us to purchase up to 5 sets of PPE, not to exceed $16,645, and there's no cost to the town for that.
Excellent.
Okay? And the last thing is, I'll tell you that 2024 is an election year, so as such, the legislative session in Tallahassee moves forward, and they'll begin in January. So as such, we're working hard on our appropriations requests. We're getting that paperwork together, and Emily's been doing an outstanding job on that. And just want to let you all know that we're going to work with Southern Group again this year. They've done a real good job for us, get us the access that we've needed. And so we're looking forward to working with them again this year. So just wanted to give you all a heads up on that, and that's all I got, Mayor. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Andy. All right. Item number 8, ordinance. Please read it into the record.
This is an ordinance of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, amending Section 0-90-100 of the Unified Land Development Code, entitled Roadway Capacity, Construction and Design Standards, prohibiting the use of phosphogypsum to create or repair town or private roads, providing for codification, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
David? Thank you, David.
Second.
Appreciate David bringing this to our attention. This is second reading, but this is really important for our town and really for all of the county and beyond to really protect our water and keep the pollution out. So thank you for bringing this to our attention, David.
My pleasure.
Is there any council comment on this item? Seeing, yeah, go
A
ahead.
question about this. Maybe we're thumbing our noses at the legislature, but should we send this to the legislature when we're done? Okay. Only if you don't want appropriations. Yeah, that's right. Appropriations. Think about that, Bob. Thank you.
Don't try any appropriations after that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, public comment closed. If we can please call the question.
Councilmember Hartman?
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski?
Yes.
Councilmember Kozinski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Albritton?
Yes.
Mayor Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Another
Great.
5-0 vote.
Item number 9, please.
This is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, approving an agreement with Absolute Construction Services, Inc. in the amount of $471,861.00 to complete the Southwest 54th Place from Dykes Road to the Ivanhoe Canal Drainage Improvement Project. Approving a budget amendment to the fiscal year 2022-2023 town budget, authorizing the mayor, town administrator, and town attorney to enter into an agreement and providing an effective date.
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. We have any presentation or anything on this? Just,
We don't, but I do want to point out, I believe we have a representative from Absolute here today.
okay, okay, great.
You might want, you'd certainly come up, introduce yourself, speak to the scope of the project.
Good evening. My name is Albert Morjan. I am the president, CEO, and owner of Absolute Construction. I'm a civil engineer. Been doing this for 30 years. I've worked for large companies, American Engineering, for 12 years. That was their qualifier. I started my company back in 2018. We do a lot of, we've done DOT work. We did for Condado America, we did the interchange at Sunrise and the Turnpike. All that underground drainage was ours. We've done water main extensions throughout the county, all 3 counties. So, and I'm also a local resident, not in Southwest Rancho, a neighbor. I've been living in Pembroke Pines, and now I live in Miramar, West Miramar.
Great.
So the incinerator issue is a big deal for us. Okay, we're like next door. So, but beyond that, I wanted to share and any comments you have. The vice mayor made actually a critical comment, which I appreciate because the road is narrow. And I looked at that and I said, well, maybe it's going to get done, but it is going to be a little challenge. But our goal is to make sure all the residents is cooperate with them, whatever they need. We're here to help them and try to make this job as easy as possible, as painless as possible. But nevertheless, it's got to get a little messy before it gets pretty.
Right, great, awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you coming up.
Thank you.
Yeah, most of the residents, when I did knock on the door several months back, were in agreement. There were a couple that was upset that it would upset their business, but I think once it's in, I think they'll realize, that it's that street does get water. Like I said, it is narrow, and I think it'll be a great improvement for them.
Yeah, so our intent is not to bring in a big machine and block everybody out. So we have other machines that can do the job. I know the only concern I have is I know the rock tends to be a little hard.
Very hard.
Yeah, exactly. So we got some cap rock in this area. I'm familiar with this area, so we'll just put the tiger teeth on the machine.
All right, great, thank you. All right, any other council comment on this item? Seeing none, is there any public comment on this item?
Noah Hollingsworth, 199th Avenue. Has any additions to the contract to avoid the situation that we had in the last areas over there in Green Meadows that went on forever with the residents and everything being upset and displaced and upset, to alleviate those sorts of situations? And also, what part of the $471,861 is grants money, and what is our cut of it? Thank you.
Great, thank you, Noel. Any other public comment? Seeing none, public comment closed. Emil, can you give the breakdown of kind of town funds versus other funding that's coming in for this?
Yes, the grant, the Department of Environmental Protection, the town received $409,422.
Great, thank you. All right. Any other council comment on this? Seeing none, if we can please call the question.
Mayor?
Yes.
Hold on for a minute. I just got a notice that the contract was actually reduced to $462,000. So I just want to make sure the reso that's approved tonight properly reflects that.
Thank you.
What happened?
So the amount was adjusted, what's the final amount?
$462,000.
462,000.
Even.
So about $10,000 less than what's listed here.
Just got notice from Emily, who's paying attention.
Okay, good. Thank you, Emily.
Quick, Mayor, question, is that, does that come out of our 100,000, or does that come out of the 409 grant?
The grant The portion that the town actually contributes is the difference of what the project costs minus the grant. So the grant, we still receive the 409,
Okay.
422.
Okay,
So
okay.
$10,000.
So-
Good, that's to us, okay, thank you.
So from a legal perspective, the resolution's really messed up now with the reduced dollar amount. I would recommend that clearly, if you approve this tonight, that you do so with the amendment and further allowing Emil to adjust all of Section 3 to reflect the actual number contributed by the town. So.
Right.
Okay.
Definitely. So, I mean, I think I would like to approve it tonight if we can, but I think we need to put that stipulation in there that the numbers need to be adjusted for a total of 462, and the correction of the other sections that make up the difference.
Yeah.
Mayor, it's reflected correctly in the contract.
Yeah, the
It's the
contract
resolution
does
that
have
didn't get updated. It's only the
Okay.
reso itself.
Right,
Okay.
right.
So we need to modify.
Keith, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I am. I mean, it's highly unusual. I hope it won't happen again in the future, but I understand the time sensitivity in
Right.
getting this done.
Okay.
And appreciate the reduction.
All right, so can we, let's see, I think, David, you made the motion.
I did.
Are you okay? Oh, no, you didn't. Who made the motion?
Right, I did.
Okay, Jim, are
Yes.
you okay with adjusting the amount?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Okay, and who seconded?
I did.
Bob, are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I wanted to add one thing just for clarification. On this contract, by the way, there is an alternate item, is for 45,000, which is complete milling and overlaying of the entire road. So the way they did this on the design drawings was to restore the patch or, the trench. And then they had like an alternate, because nobody brought this up, so I figured I might as well just, bring out the clarification. There's if you look at there is an alternate bid under the contract for milling and restoring the whole road. But again, that's something that will be discussed, I guess, later on with, the city, the council, depending what that resolution will be. But just want to make it that short.
Right. Rod, I wonder if maybe you could come up and just kind of talk through that. I want to make sure we understand that. I'm assuming that's something we opted not to do at this time?
Yes, that's great. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So yeah, we want to go we're proposing the base bid. So sometimes we like to get numbers depending on the
Right.
costs, and they're already there, they're already patching. Sometimes we get a really good deal, but we're just going with the base.
Okay, okay, just want to make sure.
One other question as well, Rod, because Newell brought this up and he didn't really get an answer. We're all familiar with what happened during the pandemic over there. What are we doing differently this time to supervise the contractor and make sure things proceed on schedule?
Well, we have more involvement on a project management side. Emily's definitely acting in a different capacity, helping me significantly more with that. We've also hired an engineering inspector, so Joyce is also helping in that effort. So it's just, we're going to definitely have our bases covered more than we did before, just in the sheer hours that people are spending on it.
Good, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. All right, so we have an amended item that's been seconded. Any further public comment on it? Seeing none. Any further council comment? Okay, I think we're good. Russell, if you can please call the question.
Certainly. Councilmember Hartman?
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski?
Yes.
Councilmember Kozinski? Yes. Vice Mayor Albritton?
Yes?
Mayor Bright Cruz?
Yes. Very good, thank you. Appreciate you coming out. Item number 10, please.
Sorry.
Number 1.
Item number 10 is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, consenting to the City of Sunrise providing water service to 5301 Hancock Road, real property lying within the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, providing that no further expansion of service shall be permitted without the explicit written consent of the town, providing for a certified copy of this resolution to be furnished to the City of Sunrise, and providing an effective date.
Motion approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any comment on this item from council?
No.
Seeing none, is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, if you can please call the roll.
Councilmember Hartman?
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski?
Yes.
Councilmember Kozinski?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Albritton?
Yes?
Mayor Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great. Item number 11, please.
This is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, opposing the creation of a mass burn facility plant, or also known as an incinerator, by Miami-Dade County at or near the Broward County line, near the city of Miramar, further encouraging Miami-Dade County to consider and to explore alternative methods of disposing of solid waste, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Yeah, so this is a follow-up item. Certainly, we strongly oppose that incinerator that Miami-Dade is considering putting in their, the northwest corner of their county, right by us. And we have also sent a letter to them expressing our displeasure with it and recommendation not to put it there. So this is a follow-up to them as a resolution. And we will be sending it out to them once it's approved. Is there any further council comment on this item?
No, just want to mention that it's, I measured it on the BCPA map. It's 6.1 miles from the landfill. It's in
Really?
our backyard, so.
Really? Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's not very far away.
No.
Just a quick question. I've just learned a new euphemism for an incinerator. Where do we get mass burn facility? I haven't seen that anywhere. It's cool. It's another one.
It is. It's yet another.
It's to fool people.
That's what Miami.
All right. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none. Public comment closed. Russell, I think we're ready.
Okay, Mayor. Councilmember Hartman?
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski?
Yes.
Councilmember Kozinski? Yes. Vice Mayor Albritton?
Yes?
Mayor Bright Cruz?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Just burn it all.
Outstanding. I make a motion, we adjourn.
Burn it
Thank
all,
you.
Bob, burn it all.
All right. Thank you all for coming out. Really appreciate it. Have a great evening.